Pecha Kucha 218, Smiley Animatic Week 2. So, yeah, you've probably noticed this isn't on YouTube yet. As I'm doing it, it's expanding, but also I'm not doing as much of it as I should because it's becoming a bit of a psychological thing. Progress is being made, and I managed to avoid speaking about it last week, but the first guest of the first Smiley show is Solid Snake, as was planned in the 15-page Smiley show that never was. And a large part of that is codec conversations between Snake, Otacon, and the Colonel. And, obviously to try and nail doing Snake, Otacon, and the Colonel, I was listening to the source material, so Metal Gear Solid. I can't do Campbell, and trying to work my way around trying to do a Paul Eiding impression is one of my major concerns, and it does fuck with my head. I'm in a place now where I think I can go forward, but there's a lot of me back and forthing in Adobe Audition, both in terms of re-recording the lines and then trying to figure out how to edit them so that, my Smiley voice doesn't sound like Solid Snake, doesn't sound like the Colonel, doesn't sound like Vegeta, since I'm doing them all. I'm convinced there's a way to just add gruffness to a voice. People on the internet keep telling me you can't do it. I'm now much more proficient at making people sound like Transformers, thanks to stuff like this, than I am just making people sound, like they're more manly and cooler. I don't know. I'm still convinced there is a way to do this. And as I was doing all of this, I found out that I was making destructive edits to my source material. So now I have to re-record stuff because I can't make it not sound like Transformers talking. Adobe products, this is how they work. It's really my fault. But whatever, we're making progress. So the thing that's the least harrowing is that building the art assets in Clip Studio Paint. But it does involve me coming up with the set. So this is like the camera is facing the audience, who I don't really want you to know who they are because they're all future guests, and it's not really. This is still definitely proof of concept. If it would be better if there were just people sitting in chairs, but I was drawing something else in perspective and thinking, sod this isn't worth my time. So this is about the crew looking for Solid Snake and where is he? And it's supposed to be he's looking at them from somewhere nearby. But in kind of putting all this together in separate layers, I realized that it doesn't quite, the perspective doesn't match where he's supposed to be. So a lot of why this isn't happening is I'm having to add bits, and I'm probably going to have to take bits out to make it actually work as a coherent narrative. And I am still very much adding jokes. What I want to do with this, I don't know if it's going to work because it might be too much trouble to make the hand move. While Vegeta is basically shaming Smiley, and he's just going, great. There's also a fair amount of cutaways, because that's how the codec works, and I'm trying to make it as authentic as I can without losing my mind. And I wanted to do a different art style for one of the jokes. So I used chalk brush to try and build some kind of fake clandestine meeting, and then I just kind of sepia toned it. For the amount of work I wanted to put in and the amount of work I did put in, I can't complain. I'm happy with how this is looking. There's no reference to this because I couldn't really find anything. I should have actually referenced more of the Metal Gear Solid footage, but I'm quite happy to leave that where it is. Part of this I want to do as well is slightly change the way I draw M. Bison, because the more I draw M. Bison, the more I realise I have no bloody idea how to draw M. Bison. So I just took step to the side. I want to give him a cravat like he has in the movie with Paul Julia. And then I ended up spending more time worrying about his bloody shoulder pads. And of course, he has the best boots in the world, and I still don't even comprehend how to shape them, let alone make them look cool. So I kind of had to step away from this. I was going to try and just nip this out on social media to have something to show for the week, but in the end, it turned into a second project as I was trying to increase its quality iteratively, and it was just turning into a whole thing. I've redrawn the set, and I've decided to not use straight lines because I think it looks better the worse it looks, because then people aren't going to judge it quite so harshly. it's all subject to change. But this is a good feel for what I want to do. And then the characters who were supposed to be standing on the set are separate in the hope that I can reuse them and the set independently for extra angles and stuff. Not sure if that's actually going to work. A lot of this is going to come down to the editing room floor and realizing that what I was trying to go for, I didn't quite get. I think that wall is maybe too colourful, but I had a grayscale version that wasn't colourful enough. Yeah, the colour of the wall is definitely subject to change, but this is good enough for now. And I think really, because this is really a proof of concept, good enough for now is the only way I'm going to get sleep and even move forward. This week I also actually found Keke Flipnote on Tumblr, someone I just recently found on YouTube. He tweets and gets away with it somehow. It made me think maybe I should tweet, use it as a promotional tool like I use Instagram and Tumblr, because social media is dangerous otherwise. But in the very same day, I'm watching a guy who talks about Tekken talk about how he tweeted, and he might not have a career anymore. I'm sure it's probably fine, but this is the problem. Tweeting causes all kinds of unintended but totally expectable consequences because it's a bad fucking thing to do in 2020, like live. And this week I have definitely procrastinated in the textbook definition of it. I've read a book on procrastination and I was doing all the things because this thing I'm doing, this project with the Smiley Show, it's big things. I'm not expecting it to change my life or anything, but I'm very much expecting a more positive response than I get from all these YouTube videos I make every week that aren't actual content, because this thing is actual content, right? So that's I'm much happier having a YouTube channel that doesn't do anything, so it doesn't freak me out, than having a channel that does something, doesn't make me money, but I still have to play the game and it becomes my job. Well, whatever. That brings us to the end of Pecha Kucha 218. It's pretty likely that this is going to be out before the next one, but who knows? So I will see you then.